Hello, everyone, and welcome to Movie Mandates, the show where my sister and I force each other to watch movies according to a monthly theme. I'm Andrew.
I'm Kelly.
This month, we're picking movies we should have seen by now, and I kicked off the month by mandating Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. Not the Daryl Hannah remake from 1993, the original from 1958, which was definitely not cashing in on the modest success of The Amazing Colossal Man from the year before. But before we talk about tall, attractive women stepping on men who've been very bad boys, it's only fair that since I mandated today's movie, Kelly gets to challenge me in a segment we call Trivial Trivia.
Okay, so I always ask myself these trivia questions, and I found this one difficult in some ways, but like super easy in others, and sometimes because you and I try to make things too hard by half. But in this movie, and we'll get to it when we start talking about this movie, there is
We'll get to the movie when we review it.
we'll get to the movie when we talk about the movie,
Yeah.
but in this movie, nearest the end, there is a terribly terribly acted inebriation.
Is it the guy with
By
the donkey?
no, Harry, the husband. His like in the when she's like coming out and banging on the Harry, and he's like, no, that's
Oh,
nothing.
when he's dancing with the her name's literally
Honey.
Honey.
Her name is literally Honey.
I thought yeah, it took me a while to realize, oh, her name's literally Honey. Okay.
Yeah, it took me a while too. But anyways, so and we'll talk about the acting of that drunk scene later, but it's hard to play drunk. I mean, he made it look really hard, but it is hard to believably play drunk. So, can you name three actors and their either characters of the movie which they were in which they played successfully drunk? It doesn't mean that they have to have been a drunk character, but like there is at least a scene in which they are getting a little pissed.
Um, Probably one of the most famous. I'm trying to remember the actor's name, but he's Arthur, the two Arthur movies. Um,
Dudley Moore?
I think that's right. Yeah. Let me look at that real quick. I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah, Dudley Moore. Um, so that one's I don't drink and I don't hang around people who do, so I'm a really bad judge of great drunk acting.
Fair.
But
Fair.
he's really funny in the role. So more modern example would probably I would say uh Powell and Myrna Loy in the Thin Man movies, except
Oh, yes.
they
Yes.
should be a lot drunker than they are, but they don't really act it. They're just
They're functioning
they're
alcoholics.
very functional alcoholics, and it's amazing that those characters lived long enough for 6 movies.
Can
Uh,
I just point out real quick, friend, that you still have one more, but that you said to make it more recent. How about the Thin Man?
which well, I my mind switched gears immediately. So
I'm like,
the more recent example would be Johnny Depp's Jack Sparrow in the
oh, that is
Pirates
good.
of the
Pirates
Caribbean
movies.
films.
That, yes. Okay, so I'm like, what? Brother, what year is it?
Yeah, I just I got to talk about this real quick before I get to this one.
Because the
Um,
first one that I thought of was Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Still haven't seen that. That's on my should have seen it by now list.
100% on my should have seen it by now list. Not the movie I'm going to pick later. However, definitely on my should have seen it by now list. So there. Well, that wasn't that okay. That wasn't nearly as hard for you as it was for me because I was trying to be like a really good drunk scene, and then I'm like, well, Nick Cage and Leaving Las Vegas. He's an alcoholic.
Yeah, he's functioning. It's when you think of
And that's the
drunk
thing.
performance,
Yeah.
you think of tipsy and slurry and goofy.
Mm-hmm.
Cage's performance in this, is it Elizabeth Shue? Is his
Yeah.
right? His performance is he's the most depressed drunk person I think I've ever seen. You usually think about drunk people as elevated and happy. He's
Yeah.
just it's the stoniest drunk person I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but he's supposed to be. But yeah, so what's the movie that I'm thinking of? No, no, it was
What's in
something.
my
Oh,
pocket?
what's in my um
Kansas.
handy? Um Meg Ryan in When a Man Loves a Woman, Andy Garcia. And she has some like drunk episode. I mean, she is an alcoholic in that movie, but like she's not a functioning one at all.
Hmm.
So that was the when I was doing this for myself, I was like,
I've
those are the
seen
ones
a
I could
few
think of.
of the Meg Ryan vehicles from that era, and I don't think I've seen that. I know which one it is.
Yeah.
When she said Andy Garcia, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm remembering this movie exists. Um, Oddly enough, I think the first time I saw When Harry Met Sally, at least in its entirety, was with you. I think Catherine was there. Were we at
Was it New Year's? Were we counting down to New Year's at
yeah,
the
it was
Kramer
New
estate?
Year's. It
Yeah.
was at what's his name?
Kramer.
Kramer's
Mike.
house.
Yeah, it was at the
I
Kramer
think
estate.
that's the first time I'd ever actually seen the whole film. I was like, that's a solid movie. I like this movie. It's good.
So
I was actually kind of surprised because I'd seen bits and pieces of it, and I was like, eh. But yeah.
I do want to explain the scenario really quick because I do think it's precious that there is a way to a specific time if you start the movie When Harry Met Sally, that
Which
the
is what we
New
did.
Year's countdown
Yeah.
in the movie coincides with the New Year's countdown in real life. And we did it. And it was, I mean, that's precious. It's just really cute.
Didn't I also show you the
Yes.
Jim Cotta?
Dimkata, yes. We watched that as well. And we watched
One of
something
the
that was
John Wicks, wasn't
possibly, but we watched another one that was really good actually. And that's gonna kill me that I can't remember her name. It's one that you used to always watch. There's a girl in it. She has long black hair. Not that that changes anything. And like there's a master dude in it. Not that that changes anything. I don't think it was a samurai. I don't think it, but it was definitely, it was an Asian film. I don't know.
Was it live action or anime?
Yes, 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 live action.
Live action?
God, it was so good. I would know it if you said it, but like you'd have to go through a whole bunch. But like,
Black hair.
I feel like she, I know. And I feel like, and she was the main character, and like we followed her story for something, and there was a twist. Gosh darn it.
Almost sounds like you're describing Millennium Actress, but that's animated.
Maybe it was Millennium
Was
Actress.
it Millennium Actress? Because it sounds like you're describing that movie, and that's a cartoon. It's great though. It's one of
really good.
That's Satoshi Kon, one of his Satoshi Kon.
Yes. Okay. I think we watched it. Yeah. It was like, it was so good. But yes, Jim Cotta.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that interestingly, it's not in my top 5 favorite movies, but it's one of those films that I consider like a masterpiece.
Then 100% that is what it was, because I remember just being
other
blown
films
away.
Off the top of my head where I'm like, nothing is perfect, but when I say a masterpiece, I'm like, this is a movie where there's like, I do like it, and there's like almost
barely any
nothing
flaws
wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's hard to even nitpick. Del Toro,
I know Pan's Labyrinth is one of them. Yeah, 100%.
I would also say Shaun of the Dead.
That is a perfectly constructed film, and everything
like,
comes back.
I remember
like
I saw it in theater, and the credits are all like, oh my God, was that movie like perfect? I mean, because everything was set up and paid off. I don't.
Yes.
That might break the record for most setups and payoffs in a single movie. It's not only do they pay off everything they set up, but there's like just scores of setups, and they're all paid off in, logical, thematically appropriate ways. It's stunning. And
Yeah.
sadly, I didn't really care for uh the follow-ups, the Edgar Wright's follow-ups, the
The
Hot Fuzz, and I just recently saw
something about the end of the world, right? Isn't the
World's End.
yeah,
They're
World's
not
End, the
bad
name of the
movies. I didn't dislike them, and they're actually incredibly well constructed in the same vein. I just didn't connect with them in the way that I did Shaun of the Dead. So
yeah. Yeah.
I'd have to think about making a list of movies. I'm like, that's just a perfect movie. Because I don't even think Ghostbusters is like a perfect movie, but it's
No,
my favorite movie.
there is one moment in the movie I'm about to say that, and I'm pretty sure that when I say it, you're gonna go, yep. So there's one moment in this movie that keeps it from being perfect for me, and that would be The Sixth Sense. And it's who's the woman who has the red scarf in the funeral scene, because it's not the mother, it's just someone who has a red scarf. And I'm like, you shouldn't be wearing red. Red is the death color. And you have a red scarf, but it's like a patterned red, but it still throws me. And I'm like, you shouldn't be wearing that. But other than that, I think we actually were talking about that the other day, and how we think that maybe our oldest is old enough to watch it and like really be blown away by the twist, rather than I think the other ones will be like, what?
I are you sure she hasn't just culturally absorbed the twist at this point?
That's true. I don't know. And that's why I kind of get it now before
I mean,
maybe, because
she might actually
no, I see
young
dead
enough for that meme to have fallen out of
favor. Yeah. Because
zeitgeist.
like you haven't really heard I see dead people.
Yeah, that's not really a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. And no offense to anyone, but Haley Joel Osment didn't become like some superstar that then you would be like, oh, this is his oeuvre, so I know
I've got
everything
to
that
go back and see his.
I have, so like we're always going to
Does he
talk
do
about.
any TV or anything?
Oh no, yeah, he does. He works. He's actually pretty funny. I see him. He does a lot of TV, yeah, and then he does a lot of character work, and so like you'll see him and you're like, that's Haley Joel Osment, and like he's an adult-looking adult, and it kind of is off. You're like, oh yeah, you had to grow up, but it's still weird. So, anyways, we've put it off. You want to talk about the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman?
Let's talk about Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, and I think the first thing I have to say is legitimately I'm sorry.
Why is it called the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman when throughout the entire movie they talk about them being ready for this 30 feet?
Because it rolls off the tongue, but that was probably a marketing decision.
I'm like, the whole time, I'm like, come on.
And the titular Attack of the 50-Foot Woman is literally, I looked at the timestamp, it's literally only the last 10 minutes of the film, which may sound like, oh God, one of those, but the movie's barely over an hour long. So,
It's an hour and 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 65 minutes. So it's bad, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about bad. This quite possibly, this is easily, I think, the worst thing we've ever watched on this podcast.
It was just, like, I was like, what is
like honestly, Igby Goes Down's a better film. Yeah, and not just like, well, technically, no, I think I enjoyed Igby Goes Down better than this.
And here's what the thing that I was actually surprised, like I was surprised at how not good it was. But moreover, why would it ever have been remade? I mean, I guess that's what I find so interesting.
Clad, attractive giant woman that sells itself. The poster's great, right? You look at the poster and you're like, ooh. And
yeah,
this does not live up to the premise of the poster. I'm actually genuinely interested in watching the Daryl Hannah remake.
So am I, and I don't like Daryl Hannah, and I didn't like this movie, and yet there's a part of me that I'm like, they will have to, first off, they're going to have to add like an hour just so you can meet characters, because this movie takes place within like 48 hours.
Something like that, yeah. Well, it's hard to say how long once she
Okay.
starts growing or something, how long, and I don't know how she fit in the upstairs bedroom.
I've no clue.
But then again, her size does alter. I mean, in some shots, she's clearly only about 12 feet tall when I mean, she's still really, really big, but she's standing in front of that tavern bar place, and she's not taller than the building. And there's a car right next to her. So I'm like, she looks 12, maybe 13, 14 feet. And then other times she's like, okay, she's clearing 30 feet easily.
Yeah,
And
but
also, so the effects are terrible,
terrible.
but not even in an adorable way. Like there's like two model shots which are kind of adorable.
Yeah.
Like the power lines that she just kind of stares dumbly at instead of just kind of ducking under. And then there's a model of part of the building that she rips the roof off of.
Hmm.
I tell you, the rest of them are they didn't build like a miniature set for her to walk through. She
No.
they just they shot her at and the other
And
alien
the other giant.
and his spaceship, which I'm pretty sure is just a ping pong ball.
Not just that, but again
You
with
see
the
the
whole
wires.
size.
You saw the
Again with
wires, right?
the whole size though is like you look at this ping pong ball and I'm like, first off, that 30-foot giant man is not fitting in there. And if he is,
No, because
he is fitting
two
like this.
characters walk
And
into the
yes,
spaceship, and it's sized for them, not a 30-foot giant. Oh, and did you notice that he apparently came to Earth to like steal diamonds to power his spaceship or something like that? And our heroine is a wealthy woman, and she has like the biggest diamond in the world and on a necklace around her neck.
yeah, because that's where
Very,
you
very
would
pretty
wear it.
necklace. So there are these like glass orbs with diamonds encased in them
Hmm.
until you get to the last one. And it's very clear that they just took the necklace prop and draped it over the top and then just angled the camera. So it's like, no, 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 it's inside. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, I mean, so the effects aren't cute. It's like lazy. Like that one shot where she first busts out of the house and runs away. Um, which by the way is shot like this.
Oh boy.
You
Gonna
have a
laugh
tight
already.
close-up on one of the characters, and they're like, oh my gosh, she's 30 feet tall and she's busting through the roof of that house. Oh, debris is flying everywhere. Oh, she just punted a cow. Look at it go. Oh, she's walking that way. Oh, the humanity. And the camera's, and you're just like, wow, it'd be great if we could see any of that shit. Yeah.
And she just screams and she's just screaming and screaming,
That
and it
poor
doesn't
actor. You could imagine the director standing behind the camera. Keep going. And she's like,
keep going.
really? Ah!
And and she just doesn't. It's like the first time every time too, which is I believe they probably just because her scream is the same. It's like that initial startled, like
I
I can't believe what I've
I
seen, and I'm
swear
like,
they had one shot of what's her name, Carol, or the lead character's name, the woman, the 50-foot woman. What's her name? Nancy.
nope,
Nancy.
Nancy. I'm like, I know
Um,
this.
had to look. I think they only filmed her walking once because that's the same shot,
Yeah,
both screen
yeah.
left, screen right, and then coming back. I'm pretty sure it's the same shot.
So I think they did the
Some of
same
them are
thing with
cropped differently, but I
yeah.
think it's the same shot. I think they shot it once. They're like, yeah, whatever, that's fine.
And so they have like either a paper mache or some sort
Totally.
of like hand that
So
come. Yeah. Okay.
uh,
Please go.
King Kong, the worst effects in the movie are the inserts where Kong's giant hand comes in and grabs Fay Ray, the actual actor.
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
What year was that? What year was that?
1932 or
I
something
thought so
like
because
that.
I'm gonna talk about it later. Please continue.
And he Kong grabs some dude at one point and starts chewing on him, and they made a big
Oh, Kong.
articulated Kong face, and the eyes go back and forth, and the jaws gnash. Those are goofy looking and definitely the weakest effects in the film. but I don't feel embarrassed for the creative team behind the film as I do with what you. They have a hand that like apparently, the 50-foot woman, they have her laid up in her bedrooms. She fits in there somehow, but they like chained her up, and all you see is hand, this giant hand coming in from off screen. And it's not like they did anything clever like perspective,
No.
or no, they built an actual model hand, but it's like you said, like paper mache or some
Yeah.
weak looking thing.
It's not articulate either,
No, it's
which
it's
and they, yeah.
just
And
a
it's like
floppy thing.
you're expected, like, I'm like, just walk away. You don't even have to run away. Like, these giants don't move fast, because even at the beginning, when she encounters the orb and encounters the giant who like brings the hairiest, but like not just the hairiest hand, but like the weirdest patches of hair on hand
Yeah,
this giant had. But
yeah.
like he's just coming at her like this, and she just stands and screams by the car. And I'm like, I get that you can't get the car running again because you flooded it and you're getting a little like, oh my God, I see a giant. So run. But she just stands by the car and goes, ah, and then he touches her and infects her.
I think it's a combination of
Radiation.
and I was going into this film, I was like, are we going to, what's the thematic perspective of this film? Is it going to be kind of a feminist lens where we're looking at we're looking at it from like maybe it's coming at it at a very patriarchal perspective where look at the horrible things that can happen if women have real power. Look at the destruction wrought. Are they coming at it from that perspective? No, none of that shit.
I don't think they have a perspective.
They just saw the Amazing Colossal Man, and it's like, this would be better if it were a big busted woman in a bikini.
And her bed sheet garb was beautiful. I will say, great bed sheet garb.
Except her hair is completely different.
Okay, thank you. She turned blonde
later. This is black and white, and I could tell her hair's a different color. What happened?
I thought the same thing. I was like looking at her, I'm like, does growth turn her blonde? Because again, black and white, but you can tell it was dark brunette. Dark.
Did you see the animated Aliens versus Monsters?
No.
I think they have a giant woman character, and there's a joke in the movie where she's 49 feet 11 inches. I think it's Reese Witherspoon who does the voice, if I'm remembering right.
That's pretty funny.
Like her Giganta or whatever the hell her name is. If I'm remembering right, she is a brunette, and her hair turns like silver or white when she grows. And I'm thinking, is that a nod to this movie?
That's interesting.
Is that why her hair turns color?
Because yeah, definitely a different, complete.
Oh, and when the other giant picks up the cop car, it's completely. He's obviously holding a model car. That's fine, but it's a different car.
Well, and then
I don't know my Plymouths from my Buicks, but that was a different. Even I could tell it's just a completely different car. It wasn't even similar.
I also love how when she picks up Harry at the end, and we'll get to the plot, which is very small, so you're not missing much. But like, she picks up Harry, and Harry's huge in her hand. I'm like, did you get like a mannequin? No, get a Barbie doll. Get Eric with his.
And the when she picks up her husband, her philandering, cheaty husband who's trying to kill her, when she picks him up, it's a doll, and they knew it looked like shit because she holds him off screen. Most of you can see
most of it
into frame.
Yeah, but it's a tragic movie in a way. But I'll tell you,
it's not forced perspective. It's not walking on a miniature or anything. It's just shooting her separately and superimposing her. But they didn't bother matting anything, so they're just changing
translucent
transparency. So, like, seriously, the alien golf ball spaceship and the giant, I was like, is it supposed to be a ghost?
Yes.
So transparent. I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be a solid thing or if it was a ghost or not. It's like,
and like, I get that he can't talk because he's an alien, or maybe, but
why does he have a picture of a bull on the back of his jacket? Did you notice that?
I don't think I did. I was just noticing, like,
Wearing like
what?
jacket vest kind of thing. When he turns
Yeah.
around, it's got
Oh,
a
yeah.
with horns on it.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't even
I guess
notice.
they've got cattle on their planet, whatever.
I just was like,
I mean, he
why?
otherwise looks like a human. Why wouldn't the other organisms look the same? I guess so.
Fair point. But like, why is he expressionless? He just walks and lumbers and comes forward. Doesn't seem to actually move anywhere because like the background's not changing, but he's like translucently lumbering forward. And like he doesn't look left and right. It doesn't look like he's looking. Like there's no acting. There is no acting. It's like you went down the street and you're like, hey Bob, will you walk towards me for a minute? Just, straight faced. Got it. Thank you.
What
That
I
like
find kind of interesting is, let's see, what's her name? Allison Hayes, whose work I'm not familiar with. I don't know that I've seen her in anything else other than this movie.
and that's Nancy or Honey.
That's Nancy. I actually,
Beautiful woman.
oh,
Beautiful woman.
yeah. Um, I can see why they picked her for the 50-foot woman.
Yes.
She her she acts. I wouldn't nominate her for an Academy Award, but for 55 of the 65 minutes of the film, well, 45, because the 10 minutes preceding where she's actually a giant, she's just ensconced to her room and you never see her. But um for the first two acts of the film, she's acting. She's putting on a performance. The actor hired to do a job is invested in her work and is giving it her all.
She is.
Except for the scenes where she's a 50-foot woman.
Yep.
She's giving Harry.
Maybe they lose expression when they get that big.
Maybe the director was a jerk, or the shoot at that point was so annoying that she was like done with this shit at that point. I don't know. Um, but I don't know if it was a stylistic choice or if it was just, we have 5 minutes to shoot all of these effects. There was a part of me where I was like, was this originally supposed to be just like a dramatic space sci-fi movie about a woman who's dealing with alcoholism and a philandering husband who might be trying to kill her, and then a space alien shows up and she thinks she's crazy and no one will believe her no matter how much she jiggles? It's like, I don't understand. Why are you not paying attention to me? Are you seeing this?
Listen to the facts, gentlemen.
um the if the film was originally a more serious minded sci-fi movie with kitsch, because it's hard to have giant aliens without kitsch, and then they're just like, oh, Allison, by the way, put on this bikini because you're a 50-foot tall giant now. She's like, I'm sorry, what? Where the hell did that come from? Oh, we just decided we're good. Yeah, it was originally called The Woman. And now it's Attack of the 50-foot when she's like, I'm sorry, what? It kind of feels like that, but I also, it's pretty clear that this came out the year after The Amazing Colossal Man, which is about a giant dude in white sailcloth, whatever he could find to wrap his junk in. This was clearly
Sure.
leeching off the modest success. That wasn't a huge hit or anything. I looked back at some reviews of The Amazing Colossal Man. It wasn't like a cultural juggernaut at the time. It was, people were like, it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fun. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It was a meh movie, but I think someone says, if we put a hot woman with big boobs in the giant role, I think we'd have something. And some producers probably like, I agree, here's nowhere near the amount of money you need to do that. It's like, oh, I guess that scene where she throws a bottle of alcohol at a television, we can't show that because we don't have enough money to actually break a TV.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing I was gonna say, it was clear they had no money at this, but it didn't feel like they were trying much either, effects wise. when she emerges from the house, just stands up out of the house and walks away, none of which you really see, except for a quick cut in of her like lifting
Breaking the beams of the roof or
beams and
something.
stuff and
Yeah.
tossing them away. Uh, it cuts to the other characters standing in front of like a garage going, with bits of wood and chunks of plaster tumbling down the roof. But all of the pieces of wood are just these pristine pieces of 2x4 that are sawed on both. Like they clearly just went to Home Depot or whatever
Yeah.
was around back in the late 50s and bought a bunch of 2x4s and we're like, hey, should we scuff them up and like break them and say, no, 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 shit, we gotta
No.
burn these. We gotta take these back to Lowe's at the end of the day.
There's still like a tape sticker on one of them.
I didn't spot that. I wasn't really looking either, but it would not surprise me if it
No,
had
not at all.
barcodes on them.
But
So
yeah, no, go ahead.
Um so no, this is just capitalizing on a movie that came out the year before, and it's still tapping into the oh my gosh, space stuff is coming up with satellites and things.
Because this is 58, this one was?
58. So the space programs are all starting. We've got weird stuff going on. We're kind of thinking about space, and we came off of World War II, so we're worried about so we're 10 some years outside of the horrific effects of radiation. It's like, oh my God, space radiation, Yeah, it's like, I mean, seriously, if you're gonna do a movie about a giant alien, it's like, and he's radioactive. It's like, why?
He's an alien already.
That
Yeah.
for?
Well, but like, and she seems to be the only one affected by the like other people went up to like those two schmucks went into
in the place. Yeah, I think he's like scratches her neck when he
trying to get the
pendant.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Oh, also, I didn't notice it, but Harry, he's humoring her. He's like, all right, I'll drive you around. Remember location because I want to talk about location. He's driving her around the desert to try to find the alien because he's like, as soon as she sees there's nothing out there, I'm going to have her committed and I'm going to take all her money. I imagine divorce and property rights and stuff were very different back in the late 50s than they are today.
Sure.
But they actually run across the alien. She's like, oh my gosh, it's true. And she runs up to and starts slamming on the thing, and the guy's like, hello? Avon calling? And she's like, and Harry's like, oh my gosh. And he takes out a gun, which I didn't know he had. Did they set that up? Because I didn't.
I don't know.
Okay.
Not that I've been aware of.
And then drives off without her, which I thought was pretty funny.
I thought it was funny too, how, and the two things about that scene, and I'll let you get back to the location information in a moment, but like, so she encounters, in the very beginning of the movie, she encounters him.
She's just driving along.
And then
on a dirt road, and she slams on her brakes, and it makes a tire squeal noise.
Yes.
I'm like, that's a dirt road. Doesn't make that noise.
So when she goes home to tell her husband who is cheating on her, and doesn't even love her, and is very not even trying.
No.
Like that's the thing that I'm like, you're not even trying, because like even Honey was like, just play the part, and he's like, like I'm like, his playing the part and like what playing the we have different definitions about what playing the part is. But so he takes her, exactly like you said, around to go find it, and they can't find it, and they can't find it, they can't find it. And then all of a sudden she's like, there it is, I told you. And it's this big ass clearing, and they happen to like be parked right in front of him. I'm like, you would have seen that a while ago and been like, it's over there. I see the red glow of this huge spaceship. Let's go towards that bright red light, because it's obviously now dark. I also love how everything about the cops is like, we're gonna get overtime. We can't afford overtime for this. They talked about payment of overtime so many times in this movie. It freaked me out a little bit. I was like, Something you guys want to say? Is that like for the cast? We are one take wonders. Don't we don't have any more film?
Hey, how come every time you ad lib, you're ad libbing about how much you're being paid? Um, so at the very beginning of the movie, it's a newscaster who's talking about, oh, there's been people spotting this
Oh
satellite
God
that's
damn it. Mhm.
and we're tracking it around the Earth, and soon it'll be in, I thought he said Northern California.
Indeed, he did. And then
Okay,
they're in Bakersfield.
something they're out in the damn desert. Now he's the doctor, that's what I want to talk about because uh Nancy is an independently horrifically wealthy woman. She's worth at least 50, they say $50 million in 1958 money.
She
This
has the
is
world's biggest diamond just hanging around her neck and out in a place where her husband can just take it out to bars and show people.
yeah, so she's an incredibly wealthy woman who lives in a fairly modest house. I mean,
Yeah.
this looks like it's 2 stories. It's maybe like
It's a nice house, but it's not
nice house,
like
but it's not like a mansion. It's not a $50 million mansion. And
no.
she lives out in the damn desert
Yeah.
in a town with 2 police officers, the main guy and the deputy. Uh, apparently one bar, one crappy motel, and nothing else of note.
Like, yeah, I was wondering,
Like,
like, does Honey not live there because she's just at the hotel? And how the hell long have they been having an affair? She's like, I'm tired of staying at the hotel. I'm like, where do you live?
so, when they first thought it, it's like, oh, okay, she's an heiress. So I'm thinking Northern California. I'm thinking probably Sacramento, San Francisco. But then I'm like, okay, do they just live like out in the desert area there? But then he says, I'll call the doctor and have him drive down from Baker. And I'm like, Baker? Are are you in like so I'm like I think they're in like Barstow or
Oh,
or
okay.
Victorville or Hemet or something like that. So if you live in Southern California, if you take the 15 freeway north and stay on the 15, eventually you'll go through Prim into Nevada and there's Las Vegas, right?
Yeah.
That's the way up
Mm-hmm.
into Las Vegas.
Yep.
Like halfway up in the middle of the goddamn desert is Baker, California.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm thinking they live out in the middle of friggin' Barstow or something like that. It's like, why are you living? Because we could shoot out here for free.
And that's, I think, because when I heard Baker and that's why I said Bakersfield earlier, is because I thought
That's further north, but yeah.
but I was like, but it's still not Northern California.
Mm-mm. No, 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 no. That's like or well, Bakersfield is north of Los Angeles, but it's like
Yeah.
west of where we're talking
Yes.
about.
Yes, it is. It's more west than it is. And we're
Yeah,
going a little bit more
this
inland
would
because
be
there's no water
yeah,
nearby this
this
place.
is northeast of Los Angeles, the Los
Yeah.
Angeles area.
Mhm.
At first I was thinking like I mean like maybe she's in like San Bernardino, Riverside, the outskirts of LA. Smaller population, but still kind of near the. No, I no, she's out in the damn desert. There's
She's in
nothing.
the boondocks. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah.
Um,
It doesn't make
I
no
also
sense.
don't know what I don't we know she's an heiress. Like she hasn't personally like she didn't
Right.
like invent rocket fuel or something like that. She just inherited her money, but I don't know what the family business is. I don't think they say.
I don't think they go into any of that,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And I was trying my best to like fill in the blanks to make an interesting character out of her. Like, because we know she's rich,
Yep.
right? And we know she's probably has trust issues because the only people who ever pay attention to her care for her money. And
Right.
maybe Harry is the only guy who's ever even feigned interest in her. She's an incredibly lonely woman, which has resulted in some substance abuse and some mental health crises. She had herself committed for a spell to help her deal with her drinking, and just she had a mental breakdown at one point. So, we have bits and pieces. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just organize all of this in my brain into an actual interesting character because the movie is not interested in doing any of that heavy lifting.
No, no, um, not at all. And to me, it's just so freaking sad in that, like, the scene in which she comes home and then I think it's the scene before he puts her to bed and with the sedatives and whatnot. And she's like, I love you so much, Harry. But she's like crying and she's like, you're the only man I've ever loved. And the reason I can't possibly leave you is because I love you so much and I just want to be with you and you're the only one. And I'm like, and she's like hanging on him and he's almost like, oh my God, get off of me, you lady. And like he puts her to bed and she's like, don't leave me, Harry, don't leave me. And like he's actively walking out the door and putting on his jacket. And she's still awake.
I
And he's
love
like sneaking out. And I'm like, she's still talking to you, dude.
like Spooner for 10 minutes, man. Come on.
Like, yeah, you're all right. It's yeah. But it was just so tragic because she shouldn't it like that I that
I mean,
ended and
this
sort of
could be
like
the
why
classic
why
case of she hates him because he's mean to her and he cheats on her, but if he leaves, she'll have nothing and she'll be all alone, and that
yeah
scares her more than anything, which is not articulated in the movie.
no
I'm just adding stuff for
yep.
something to
And
latch
that's
on
yeah,
to.
you've got to
Yeah.
um so yeah, and I so he sneaks off.
Well, that's syringe. He's gonna inject her with too much stuff.
It took
That's a
forever to
James
fill. I was like, are
Five.
we still filling that damn syringe?
Well, I mean, it was a giant syringe. I don't know what the measurements are, but the thing had the diameter of like a quarter. But when he walks into the room, it was a completely different syringe.
Yeah, there's no continuity. They did not have a script supervisor
No.
at all.
Also, that scene we're talking about where he's putting her to bed and he gives her a sleeping pill. I'm pretty sure this is a blocking mistake where he gives her the pill in her hand and the glass of water and then he pushes her to lie down and the actor sits up again so that she can take the pill
Oh,
and then lays down. I'm like, I think that was a blocking mistake, but you know what? That's exactly what you
I
do
knew. Yeah,
if you're on stage in front of a live audience.
like
Otherwise, you cut and you do another take.
no, we are one take
Oh,
wonders because we're not paying for overtime.
that's
They've
right.
mentioned it several times, brother.
Did you know
Um,
the title treatment, the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman? Weird title treatment because at the very beginning of the movie, when they show the film's title, it's um attack, and the word attack just kind of Superman's past the screen, just kind of flies at the screen and off frame. Of the 50-foot, boom, or it's like attack, boom, of the boom, 50-foot, boom, whoa. Like, seriously, if you were like in the theater grabbing some popcorn, you might have missed Attack of the 50-Foot and just thought, am I just watching a movie called Woman?
yeah, it all right then. Let's watch
That
this
was kind of
woman.
weird. Also, this film has, I'm trying to, I don't know if this is hyperbole, but this film might quite possibly have the worst implementation of day for night I have ever
Oh
seen.
my God. Oh my God. It might oh my God, yes. Because yes,
After 5 minutes, well, not that long, but it took me the only I had no idea it was supposed to be nighttime. The only thing that cued me into the fact that, oh my God, it's supposed to be night, isn't it? Is because
he said we don't get paid overtime. We have to end before midnight or else we're gonna get paid overtime and they won't pay it or something like that.
it was before that. It's the fact that there are crickets on the soundtrack. Little chirp, 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 chirp. I'm like, why are the it's supposed to be nighttime. It's the did they didn't even try like
They didn't
they didn't
even
try dimming it.
try.
They didn't use a colored filter. They did or well they didn't it's black and white film, but they didn't use a filter. They didn't optically try to change anything. They just shot it and put crickets on the soundtrack. I'm like, no, you can't do it. They're like, Black and
So
white.
bad.
It's the same colors day or night. We
It's
put some
not.
crickets on the soundtrack. No one will know. I'm like, oh my god, this is
No,
late.
it was terrible. And I didn't even pick up on the crickets. It was when they said midnight, and I was like, I'm sorry, what? Wait, did we just pass 8 hours of time? Or
Oh,
has it been late this whole
and then they
time?
have the opposite problem where where they find the giant's footprints and they're going to follow it, and he goes, "Well, it'll be dark soon." I'm like, "Not if the sun's right. It's noon, asshole. What are you doing?" And he does that like twice. Well, it'll be dark soon. I can tell by the sun being at high noon. I'm like, what are you doing?
Is it like the dead of winter and it like gets dark at 4 p.m.?
Yeah, it's like a dark 1:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I heard on the radio, current event thing. It's
Oh, okay.
middle of July as we record this. So I heard on the radio that well, Grand Canyon Park, where there's lots of hiking and stuff.
Yes.
3 people have died in the last couple of weeks.
Why?
They're still investigating probably heat exhaustion, heat stroke, that heat related ailments. They're still investigating.
It's been in the one teens in Arizona.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
it's in the Grand Canyon, it can be over 120.
Yeah.
So they're like, advisory, please only hike. How did they phrase it? They're like, do not hike between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. I'm like,
so don't hike today.
Don't hike during the day.
How about you don't hike today?
Like 3 or 4 hours after sunup, 3 or 4 hours before sunset. Those are your only opportunity. Do not hike during the day. You might drop dead.
I mean, it's not funny, but
no, it's not. But yeah.
So you, brother, have a knack for picking movies that have incredibly awkward dancing scenes.
Oh God, yes.
So when he sneaks
they clearly did not have a choreographer on this film.
So
maybe that's why the director kept saying, "Okay, forget the dancing, just sit in the booth and make out."
And
but
make
go
out
hot and heavy in public because.
But like make out in the most awkward, just open mouth, like no, like just like it was like suction cupping on each other and like pretend like oh yes, and like your mouth is over here, and I'm like, what are you getting pleasure from? His chin on your shoulder? Like he's not touching. It was weird. But like when the deputy is dancing with Honey, which is now like 1 a.m. by the way.
Yeah.
But when the deputy is dancing with Honey, they are doing this quote unquote choreographed dance that takes up so much gosh darn space. It goes into the crowd, these like little, happy numbers. And I'm like,
the deputy is dancing like somehow he's fused his spine or something like that. He's hunched over the entire time like Quasimodo or Igor or something. I don't know what he's doing.
It's so bad, but like he goes so far, like he's basically at the bar between people sitting at the bar, like doing his dancing with this girl. And I'm like, it was, a very awkward dancing scene. And then somehow Harry gets super awkwardly drunk. And when she like escapes from her house and is like, Harry, with no inflection or emotion. Harry. And he bumps into the jukebox and he's like, it's fine. And I'm like, you got drunk fast, sir. So what I was going to say about King Kong is the last line of the movie.
Oh God, yes. Yeah, definitely inspired by that.
I was just like, dudes, no. Knock that off. You knock it off.
It's like the gut punch at the end of the movie. It's like the movie it's like, here, let me kick you in the nuts before you leave. It reminds, and I always go back to this reference. It's that pained look on Susan Sarandon's face in Rocky Horror Picture Show where
anyone know how to Madison?
Anyone know how to Madison? She's just yeah, yes, that. At the end of King Kong, Kong falls off the building. It's like, ah, well, we got him with our big old manly gunships. It's like, no, 'twas beauty what killed the beast. Who talks like that? And roll credits. So what's the final? So, uh, Allison,
Take it through the end.
oh, that's the actor's name. Nancy grabs Harry and then makes for the hills very leisurely, and then I think the cop fires a shotgun from half a mile away,
Miles away.
hits the power line that she's standing next to, which just glows brightly. I think that's supposed to be an explosion, and I takes a nap or falls over dead, one or the two. I'm really not certain.
She gets electrocuted, I guess. Yeah.
And I guess Harry's dead too, and she's partially transparent because they didn't mat it properly. And so they gather around her corpse, and what's the last line of
with her outstretched hand, Harry's in her hand, and they're both dead, and he says,
right, but there's a split screen where because her hand is extended beyond a telephone pole, and they're using, which that was actually a smart way to do it.
The only one that works.
The only effect that it doesn't work, but it was given some thought. So there you go.
And he says, well, she finally got what she wanted. Harry all to herself.
I'm like, that doesn't even work, man.
No,
that doesn't really make any sense.
No, but it was just like, oh, it's terrible.
It's just, I mean, I get what they're just like you said. No, just no.
You should know better at this point.
Yeah,
like that line's not going to save the movie. It just puts like a nail in the coffin.
I was going to leave the theater going, well, that sucked, but now I'm leaving actively annoyed. Thank you very much. I'm like, oh, screw you, movie.
She got Harry all to herself, and I'm like,
okay, here's how it could have ended worse. Fiend. Right? Be like, you have not earned a fiend. How dare you, sir?
That's hilarious.
At least it didn't open with like a Nietzsche quote or something like that. What was it? The town that opened with like 3 quotes from just random Bostonians?
Yes, that was the town that did that. Oh my gosh, that would have been, and it would like pan up to the sky and then in cursive.
Yeah,
So before we wrap up, I did want to just mention, because we've talked about the all the bad effects, but also the fact that apparently when being you lose emotion and all sense of anything when you are 30 feet tall, because tons of bullets were ringing out at both the giant man and her, and never did you see dust or I don't know if they were ever hitting anything, and they for certain weren't ever reacting. Like, you would think that with them shooting at the giant,
right?
Even if it was felt like a rubber band, you'd be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But there was no reaction. So I'm like, is it even making it to here? Are they too far away?
Again, are they ghosts? Because they look like ghosts. They're
goes
translucent. So yeah,
something. Anyway, so
this movie sucked.
And it's so weird though, because when the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, the Daryl Hannah one, came out, what year did you say that was?
93.
I had heard it wasn't. The original was something that I feel like we had already known about, never saw, but I don't feel like, so somehow we knew that there was an attack. It registered in our minds that there actually was another movie. I don't think I thought it was, this is a brand new conceit.
Yeah, even in 93, we would have been young teenagers. I knew this was a remake of an old movie.
12.
Despite the movie sucking like a vacuum cleaner, particularly powerful one, one of those big tank vacuum cleaners, the poster is iconic.
Yes.
The Attack of the 50-Foot Woman is just the concept is referenced. There's parodies of it. There's got to be a porn parody of it. Roger Corman had to have made it. I know there's like a Attack of the 50 Foot like cheerleader or
Yes, yes, there's a
that.
cheerleader one.
I'm sure Cohen's done one of these.
Yeah.
Or Corman, Roger Corman, who actually just passed away recently, I think. Yeah.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Yeah. Corman's
Shelley Duvall just passed.
Shelley Duvall passed today, I think, or maybe last night. Yeah, she just passed. Man, what was that show she did? The fantasy show?
The fairy tale.
Fairy Tale Theater, right?
Yeah.
That was it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I loved that.
That was awesome.
I loved that. So you want to hear a sad story? Yes, of course you do.
Yeah.
The actress who plays Honey, do you know anything about that actress and her fate in life?
No. No.
So just because I was looking things up, because I was like, who are these people and what did they ever do? Mainly because I thought that the woman who was the 50-foot woman, Nancy, was gorgeous. And I'm like, I'm surprised I don't know who you are. You're beautiful. But nah. So the woman who
Anything
played
else?
not that I
Allison
noticed.
Hayes. No, not a big, yeah, because
No,
I didn't look at the casts too much.
but so the woman who played
That
Honey,
Vickers is Honey Parker. Okay.
and she passed away in her home of heart failure. And her body wasn't found for about a year.
I would assume she lived alone, right? Okay. She's
But like,
in that chair the whole time. So I never know
I
never
thought he was
leaves from that
just
damn chair.
taking a nap. My cat sleeps all day. I just figured.
Yeah. Sir, your cat's been dead for 3 years.
Like, you really got to get your nose checked, man. Because, but anyways, I was like,
smell since the war.
but like that also, and I didn't go down any rabbit hole. I didn't have time today. I was working hard. But like, I think to myself, I never want to get so lonely that it would take a year for someone to be like, you know, who hasn't been around lately?
Yeah, honestly, that's probably going to be my fate.
No, but I'll be calling you, being like, what the hell, brother?
Yeah, that's true. It won't be a year. Might be a couple of weeks.
Might be a couple of weeks, but it'll happen. So hopefully it happens in the winter. I also live in
an apartment complex, so the neighbors might smell it.
Or they might notice, like your friend with the Thunder Zeus Poseidon dog. She'd be like, where'd that Andrew guy go? But anyways, so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, and I'm never watching this movie again. There you go.
Watch the Daryl Hannah one. I'm really curious to see what they did with it. I'm willing to bet it's got actual like forced perspective effects and miniatures and
I'm sure
matting in its super.
Yeah, I mean it was still 93, but you can guarantee it's better. Like just in having not seen it, superior film it is.
Yeah, like I remember the trailer for the film. Like the only thing I remember about the movie is there's this she takes a bath in a swimming pool. There's like a scene of someone standing like on the edge of a pool and she's just kind of relaxing.
Oh, that's funny.
A swimming pool. I'm like, yes, that's funny. That's great.
That's funny.
That's a cool idea. So I mean it couldn't be any worse than this.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel very confident saying it's a superior film.
All right. So, boy, I had a short list of 9 or 10 movies I should have seen by now, and I picked this one. So, what movie should have you seen by now that you're going to mandate we watch?
So this one was actually quite hard for me, because I was on one road for a while. And then I realized that's the wrong road, even though I need to go see this movie. Mm-hmm. What I need to see is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, you've never seen that?
I've never seen it. So, yeah. Freaking Christian Slater was in the Broadway play or West End. He was on stage doing it. And like, I've never seen this film. I'm a terrible fan. So yeah, and it's iconic. And they have a Nurse Ratched TV series.
What?
Not that I want.
Oh my God, they do.
They do. With Sarah Paulson.
I was going to say, it's not Louise Fletcher.
No. It's Sarah Paulson. I have not.
Right? Oh, Sarah Paulson? Well, that's... Ooh.
I know, right?
Have you seen it? Any good?
I have not because I haven't seen One Flew Over the
Louise
Cuckoo's
Fletcher's
Nest.
still around, right?
I don't think so. I think recently.
Ugh.
And she won for the role, right? Didn't she actually take home the statue
I
for?
would not be. I'm confident she was at least nominated, but
Yes.
you know the fact that she probably did win. If she was only nominated, I probably wouldn't know. Let's see.
Fair.
Oh shit, she died 2022.
I said it was. I was like, I think it was recently.
But do you know how much of the cast of Cuckoo's Nest do you know?
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson and of course Louise Fletcher. Do you know anyone else in it? Do you want me to
No.
tell you, or do you want to be pleasantly well, you'll go, oh my gosh, this person is in it? Because
Okay.
next time we talk, you'll be like, oh my gosh, I had no idea this person was in it.
So cool.
Yeah,
no.
It's a great cast. So
Excellent.
yeah,
Excellent.
I have seen, obviously I've seen this movie before, obviously because I'm talking about it so with such familiarity, but yeah, I've seen this before, but I'm looking forward to seeing it again. It is definitely one I think everyone should see. It's a good movie. Yeah.
I'm really excited. So yes, there you go. So that's what we have to watch this
All right.
week.
Well, today's episode may have come to an end, but should have seen it by now month continues next time with Kelly's mandated movie, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Only one.
Just the one.
That's right. Can't have too many people going over them cuckoo's nests. It's not safe. If you'd like to watch it too, check out the description to see where it's currently streaming or available to rent. Until then, you can watch Movie Mandates on YouTube or listen to it in podcast form on iTunes. And if you enjoy the show, want to help us reach a wider audience, engagement is key. Or if you hate the show and you want people you don't like to suffer, engagement.
Oh yes, you're like, that girl's voice is Sarah Silverman meets Fran Drescher. So you guys got to go listen and bleeding ears.
So if you're watching on YouTube, like and comment, and listening on iTunes, rate and review. Much obliged. With that, I'm Andrew. Follow me on Twitter at Andrew Eisen.
And I'm Kelly, and watch my video of my cat on my Instagram, Pimento Livia. 10.
In fact, don't listen to Movie Mandates. Watch videos of her cats. It's much more wholesome and entertaining. Anyway, we hope you've enjoyed this episode of Movie Mandates. We will be back soon with another mandated movie. Bye, everyone.